So in as much as we are saying we condemn coups, we should also check these Yahoo boys we call leaders. Because across the African continent, there are a bunch of Yahoo boys that always think of themselves and not the interest of the people.
Real quickly, I totally condemn every coup, and kudos to the Nigerian forces that went out there to quell the coup. It's not today that Nigeria has been protecting the democracy of West Africa and Africa in general, and kudos to our soldiers. But the bone of contention that Dr. Abadi picked out is, did they do it legally? Because there's a proviso in Section 5 of the Constitution that talked about the president notifying the Senate. Was the Senate notified? And that's why people are now drawing comparisons with the case of Niger. Because in the case of Niger, we all saw the leak that happened, that Nigeria was already preparing a strike, and then the matter came to the Senate, and the Senate advised against it. But what we saw here is that all of a sudden President Tinubu, after the fact, just announced that Nigerian troops had been there and they had quelled the coup and uprising, which we support, but the way it was done. So the question is, will President Tinubu now come back to tell the Senate? Because there's also a proviso when you read through Section 5 of the Constitution that talks about that, okay, that the president can do it, and I'm sure that's where the government will hide under. That the president can do it if it's a limited operation, if it's impinges on national security. I don't think they'll be able to prove that, but maybe they will prove that, oh, because it's so close to home, it impinges on national security. And in the next 7 days, maybe now they will now formally make an appeal to the Senate. But the most important question is, and a lot of people are asking this, why did it go through the Senate for the case of Niger? Is it because of cultural ties? Why is it that the Senate questioned the case of Niger? Because prior to even the strikes in Niger, there were cases of protests in the north. So we should also look at that. But let's go back to it. In as much as I condemn coup, is Talon a saint? No. And you see, the reason for the coups in these African countries, and why an average watcher of television today might support those coups, despite the fact that I condemn the idea, because and why I condemn the idea of a coup is that once you start, you don't know where to stop. Everybody that has force now can take power. Even Yahoo boys and criminals can take power. But the question is, are the African leaders not even behaving like Yahoo boys in the first place? Look at Talon. It was just on Saturday. Talon passed, and the National Assembly was probably rubber stamp, passed a law to extend the presidential term to 7 years. Anyway, Talon will not be a beneficiary. But the most important part we should look at about that law is the 25-30 man Senate seat that pretty much second guesses what the lower house does. There are indications that Talon might want to put himself there to be able to check this his anointed candidate, the minister. And Talon had been very high-handed, like Ouattara. You see, when I even look at the hypocrisy of ECOWAS and they say the volunteer force, and I'm seeing Côte d'Ivoire in there. Côte d'Ivoire, with Alassane Ouattara, that has violated democratic tenets, that has committed this act of statitism in power, that because most of his preferred successors died, like Hamid Bakayoko and the likes, he decided to stay on the power. He stayed there for like 16 years. Is it countries like Togo? Togo did the same with the constitution. They've made the role of the president ceremonial. They have a council of ministers that the president leads that has the real power. So all of the African leaders have made it very easy for the coups to happen. So saying we condemn coups, we should also check these Yahoo boys we call leaders. Because across the African continent, there are a bunch of Yahoo boys that always think of themselves and not the interest of the people.